for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So yeah, so just to recap that, the purpose of dating, or even if you're not in an exclusive dating relationship, hanging out in groups is, hey, I have feelings for this person, but I need to observe their character. I need to observe what kind of person they are. I need to see that they are who they claim to say that they are. That's just a very important aspect of dating, whether it's in high school, college, or afterwards. And again, I'm not one of those dogmatic people that say high school dating shouldn't be, just because I've seen bad, of course, and all of y'all, through some of what you've been saying, like, have seen bad, but I've also seen it done very well. So it's just a matter of the maturity of the people and in those relationships, and what their purpose is in dating each other.
I'm thankful in high school that I dated that guy, because then I learned, whoa, that's not the way that a relationship needs to happen. So some people have to learn that through screwing it up. Other people, like, I know 3 or 4 couples that dated 8th grade and now they're married with kids. You know, they did it all the way through. So it's just each person their own.
Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is, if you're thinking about dating, if you're interested in someone and you're like observing their character, like we've just been talking about, and all of this stuff, especially in high school, you know, this season of life that you're in right now, is you have to weigh the consequences that can come from dating. You know, you may be attracted to that person. You may observe their character and they're, you know, completely awesome, but it just might not work out. And it's very important for you to be ready for that, ready for rejection, or ready for a breakup. So I guess I don't really have a question, but it's more of a comment. It's when you decide to date, you're, you know, deciding to give, for lack of a better way of putting it, you're deciding to like give, you know, part of your heart, or your heart to that person, you know, for them to care for. Because you're giving yourself from an emotional standpoint, and, you know, all kind of aspects. And when that person decides that, hey, like, I don't want your heart anymore, and they're giving it back to you, like, that hurts. That sucks really, really bad. And for me, I was the one who was given the hearts all through high school. I was like, I don't care. Throw it back. Give it back to all of these people. But later on in life, like in my 20s, I feel like God has been like, all right, you did that to all of those girls through high school. Let's kind of switch it around just a little bit. So in college, I dated a girl for 2 years. And at the end of it, she was like, just to make a long story short, she was like, you know, I don't think you're really serious about this relationship, so I'm out. 2 years. And so I was devastated, but, I mean, it hurt really bad. And then the girl I dated in seminary before her, ironically, her name was also Angela. So that's awkward.
He'll never say her name instead of mine. Like, there's the one positive.
I mean, this is hard to say, like, even in front of her, like, no joke. I legitimately thought I was going to marry this girl that I was dating before her. We dated from I was 22 till I was 24. I was sure, you know, like, character was all there, awesome friendship, awesome connection. I was like, for sure, I'm going to marry this girl. And in the end, I won't bore you with the details of why we broke up, but we broke up and I was like absolutely crushed. Like I didn't cry, but I like legitimately, I lost 10 pounds. I was like 175 and I was like 165. I was like, oh, I'm so heartbroken and this sucks. Because I dated her for a year and a half and I thought I was going to marry her. So like, I guess what I'm saying is that could be a part of your story, right? It could be that you did this awesome guy and this awesome girl and it just doesn't work out. And you have to learn from those situations. Like one of the awesome things that she's done is like when she asked me about like this Angela I dated before, I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to tell this story. But she ended it by saying, hey, like, so what did you learn from that relationship? And it forced me to kind of think through and process, like, hey, this is what I learned that I should do in my next relationship, or that I shouldn't do, or that I should do better. And so, like, challenging yourself, even in those moments of pain and just hurt and rejection, to say, okay, what are the lessons that I can, draw from this circumstance? His
lessons from that have helped us. Like, he learned to communicate openly, and so, like, we have really open communication and other things that I'm blanking on right now. But there were things that he learned from that I get to benefit from. So, like, I told him when he told me that story, like, it's really hard to hear the guy that I'm dating say, I thought I was going to marry him. That's hard to hear, but it also is a blessing and a gift that, like, okay, well, you know what not communicating is like, and so that won't be an issue because you've already been down that road of not communicating. So I get that gift of him learning that lesson through another girl, but that's okay. That's our stories.
Yeah, and so for sure, breakups can be a part of the journey, and so it's just so important for you to learn from them if that's what ends up happening. If it doesn't, that's awesome, but it's the story of a lot of people. Next question I want to throw to you guys for your opinion. Should you say I love you to your high school boyfriend or high school girlfriend? Why or why not? Go.
I think I love you is a word that just gets tossed around a lot in relationships, and like each time you say it and you mean it, like I think you're like giving away like a piece of your heart to that person, and like I personally want to wait till like I know I'm gonna marry the one person I'm gonna marry and I'm gonna be with them forever. Like that's like the one person I want to say I love you to. So I just think like in high school kids toss it around way too much and they don't know like the true meaning of it.
Yeah.
See, what I wish we had is that what's the language that has like 6 different ways?
Greek, I think.
It's Greek or whatever. It's like because I wish we had that because that'd be like so much easier to communicate because there's different types of relationships or love. Like it might not mean like I love you like my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister, or like I love you like my dog or like my best friend or something, or like I love you like I love God or Jesus. It's like there's like a bunch of different stages of love. And so, like, if you say, I love you to a high school girlfriend, and they take it, oh, wow, it's like, is he going to, like, propose to me next week or something? It's like, but they didn't mean it like that. So it's really, like, how you interpret it and, like, what you mean when you say it. That's a really big thing.
Yeah.
From, like, a girl's standpoint, I'm going to go off of what she said. Because you kind of give your heart to them, and then they can use it against, like, well, if you love me, then, like, why don't you give me your body? And like instead of your heart, it's like your body, and then it turns into like just this really unhealthy relationship. And it's just, I don't think that's a good thing to do because you say you love a cheeseburger, like love your girlfriend, like I don't know, it's just a word that gets tossed around. And I don't think high schoolers really know what it means. And like my brother, like one thing I learned from him going through high school, he had this girlfriend he dated all throughout high school. Ended up breaking up with her like a year after, and like he was like saying like never tell a guy like you love him, like that's just a serious word, and I like really look up to my brother, and so he's like that's just a serious word like you should not use, and so I did not like I love you, like don't like that at all.
You don't like I love you. Funny. Sorry.
I don't like
Anybody
that.
else?
Yeah, I just think we've been desensitized to the word in general. Like, even on Instagram, if you look, it's 2 girls, love you, and it's just like, just like slow down and think what you're really saying. It's like, I guess in that instance, if there is a strong relationship, sure, you can use the word like that, but it's just so many instances where just love is just thrown out there, and we don't really stop to think because of how like quickly our world is to us. We just throw stuff out and just keep going and going. So there isn't really time to process like what you're actually saying.
Yeah.
I feel like if you want to let someone know that you care about them, you need to think like you can tell someone like I really care about you, like you mean a lot to me, but because love can mean different things to different people. So like I feel like you should try your best to explain your feelings before you go straight to like I love you.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And another way to do that is like showing through like your actions too. Like you don't have to like specifically say like I love you, but like doing things like putting their needs before your own and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of ways to say I love you without actually saying those words, and I think that like that's really important for us to do is show our feelings without like tossing this word around that none of us really know or understand like what it means. So.
Somebody else saying something?
I feel like they run into it because, like, one good example is, like, ILY, it's like, oh, so you love me? No, I like you. I mean, it's weird to say, oh, I like you too, but it's normal for people to say, oh, I love you and I love you too. It's just different upon how people see it as. It's like, just say, I love you because I don't feel that way.
Yeah. I think, like, I agree with everything that all of y'all just said. It's something it's a phrase that's just thrown around in our culture, and you shouldn't really say it until you're sure that you mean it. That you're sure.
Can somebody look up on the Bible app? It's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8.
He walked.
It's like, can somebody look that up for me? Here it is. Yeah, it's like, this is like, it's basically like, this is a verse from the 1 Corinthians, and it's about like what love is.
Yeah.
Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easy angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. So that's like what the Bible says love is. So
for sure, and if you can't honestly say that you will, that you will in your actions prove through your actions that you love that person, then saying it with your lips is probably not the best decision that you need to make. Another quick one. Should you talk about in dating in high school if you choose to? Talk about marriage and kids and other intimate issues. Why or why not? Real quick.
No. You shouldn't, because like I said earlier, like who you are at 17 is not who you are at 26, and like I don't talk about that stuff.
I love
your
your
socks.
socks.
I think you should, but I don't think you should say like, I want to marry you. I think you should be like, hey, these are like the traits I want to have in my husband. Like, I want to have 3 kids, and the other person's like, well, I want to have 10, and you're like, oh, never mind, not 5. like, I think like that's like just to like compare like what they want to see in a wife and what you want to see in a husband, and like just be able to compare that and be like, hey, I'm not really a good fit for you, but not to be like, hey, I want to marry you, like. I agree with her on that part, but like I think marriage should be talked about, not as in like I'm marrying you, but like this is what I want my marriage to be like, and this is what I want traits I want my marriage to have. These are the amount of kids, like, but like I don't think you should be like, I want to have 3 kids with you, I want to marry you, like you should be like, I want my husband to be like this, and I want my kids to be like grow up like this, and I want to live in Texas, like I don't know, something like that.
That's good. That's good. Somebody else?
I think when you like talk about marriage with like that one person, like you talk about like I want to marry you and I want to have this amount of kids, I think it brings you like emotionally like together, like an attachment, and I think that could lead to like physical, like a physical side that y'all feel like y'all are emotionally connected, so you want to like start doing physical things, and then that will end up like leading to destruction in that relationship.
Yeah. Okay. No, let's do you have some. Okay. No.
You want me to? No.
No, I didn't. Next thing, I feel like this is more so like my generation, but I just want to throw it out there and see what you guys think. A lot of people out there say or use the phrase, I'm just waiting for, the one or this one person for me. So do you think that there is such a thing as, just that one person that you're supposed to be with or marry?
Possibly. I think.
Explain why.
I think when we have that idea of this, like the one, that perfect person for us, that's kind of implying that that person is perfect. Like there's someone out there who's beyond fault that we can be in some sort of perfect relationship with. Which obviously, since everyone is, you know, affected by sin in one way or another, there is no perfect one. So I mean, you get to the point where it's like, well, then it's just whoever like we're supposed to be with. And I think when you get to that point, it's like the person that you're supposed to be with is just the person that you end up being married to. It's not like any more complicated than that. Like you have to find them. It's like you will eventually find them if God intended you to be with this person. And like I heard one person talking about it like this. It's like if everyone had one specific person they were supposed to find, like that was who they're supposed to marry. Like what happens when one person like finds another person's like the one? And so it's like they screw it up for everyone, because if one person marries the wrong person, then it like throws everything off.
Yeah. I think for some, like, because not everybody is meant to be married. Like some people are meant to join the priesthood, and some like women are meant to be nuns. And like you're really like when you join the priesthood, you're considered married to the church. And that's why they call him father whenever you say priest, because they're married to the church. But it's because it's like, because like some people might, like their path might be that they have to like get their, like God wants them to have kids and they wants them to get married, but some, God might want this person to become a priest or like this person to become a nun. So it's like whatever God's plan for you, because God might have made somebody like the one for you. It's just you might have different expectations once you meet them than what you thought you wanted in a person.
Yeah. Somebody else?
I guess. Oh no, go for it.
My friend over here in the cut-off shirt with the muscles.
Dang it, somewhere.
I was gonna say definitely no. Back a long time, or not that long ago, but for most of society, marriages weren't. Hey, I love you, let's get married. They were more arranged. They were more, hey, we're together because we're in the same status. Or hey, we're together because the parents said so. And it's not. And back then, their divorce rate was a lot lower. So I mean, if that by itself can give you an image back, a long time ago, everyone got married, not because hey, you're the one. I think it's because hey, it was arranged, it was set up, and they found a way to make it work and make it happy. And I believe if any godly man, godly woman come together in a relationship, it can work out for marriage. I had one, I don't know, youth pastor, camp council. I do not remember who it was. But I remember him saying he was working at a Christian camp, and that's where he met his wife. But he was able to say that there were 5 or 6 other godly women at that camp that he said, hey, if things went differently, I could have seen myself marrying them because they're godly women, and I know we would have had a solid relationship. Even though I'm still super happily married to my wife, he saw that as a possibility.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with my friend in the back there.
I'm not the one, is what he's saying.
let me give you a good an illustration to help you think through this. If she was the one for me, if my girlfriend was the one for me, she wouldn't do this that she does. So we went on a road trip, and she has the phone, with the directions we're going down this highway, we're taking this exit. Me, I'm a very, strategic thinker, very organized, very all right, a mile before we need to take an exit, I need you to tell me the exit so that I can get over. But
I'm elaborating on that moment.
What she would do.
No, we're going on this road trip, right? So 2 weeks ago, he's like, I want to know exactly what we're doing, the itinerary, what are the plans? I'm like, oh, we'll just have fun. That's just how we're like.
Yeah. So imagine me in the fast lane going 70 miles an hour, 4 lanes away from the exit, and she's like, oh, we need to take this exit that we're passing at 70 miles an hour. And I'm just you should have told me this 3 minutes ago. And it's not one time, it's not 2 times, it's repeatedly, over and over and over.
So what did you learn through that?
I learned that it's really annoying. And so my point behind that is the one for me would be a person who is kind of like me in a sense like that. For example, the one would tell me a mile before that I need to take this exit. So thank you, girlfriend, and I'll go over and take the proper exit. So this picture or this idea that there's just one who's perfectly everything that you need him or her to be is just a myth. And part of the adventure and part of the process of growing to love that person more is I'm really annoyed at the fact that you don't tell me to get over these lanes, but I'll get over it, and I like these other things about you anyway, so it's all good. And so, going through that process kind of helps you in that. So no, I don't believe that there is the one person for you. Okay. When should you start looking for a husband or a wife? Or like looking for, let's leave it at that. When should you start looking for a husband or a wife?
I don't think you should look for one at all. Basically, like if God's meant for, like if you're meant to be married to somebody, like that person's gonna come to you. Basically, God's gonna bring that person to you, and like you're gonna figure that out some way or another. Basically, if you look for somebody, you're gonna be, I don't know. It's like a way like of judging people. You're trying to like look for somebody, like, oh, this person's not it, this person's not it, this person's not it. Basically, when you stop looking, that's when God like brings that person towards you. I don't know.
Do y'all have anything to say about what he just said?
Yeah,
because I did.
I'd be careful with that because, God's gonna bring. I think God might. You have to be careful with that because God might not bring them to you; He might bring you to them. So you have to pursue them rather than them pursuing you. But I definitely agree with like the don't look around for people. Like, I mean, you should definitely be looking and like noticing traits of like things you like and things like you find you admire about people. But I would agree with like don't look like, oh hey, like because that does take you to judging people. I liked how you said that, but then again, I would be careful about he's going to bring you them to you because he might bring you to them.
I just mean like the area. I didn't mean like basically.
You don't want to rush it. I think that's kind of like you don't want to rush it. You don't want to push it. You just kind of gotta like let it be. So if you like have an urge to approach somebody, then I guess like approach them just in case.
Just in case.
I mean, they're not the one to find out.
I think that people, like, in high school, like, they want a relationship so bad that they're just, like, looking for it wherever they can. And, like, I think God's going to put someone in your life, whether you're in high school, you're in college, and I think, like, something that I think of is, like, don't lower your standards, but lengthen your patience, because, God will put someone in your life, or He won't. Like, whatever His plan is for you, I think, like, you should just trust in Him through that.
Yeah, that's good. A couple more things, and then I'll let y'all do it, just because it's almost close to 9. Real quick, how involved do you think your parents should be in dating?
Not at all.
In high school.
Well, I think very involved because, especially in high school, not in college and past that, but I think in high school definitely because like they should be involved as much, but they should definitely like know the person and. Because if you don't, and they just like send you up to your room, like that stuff happened. So if they, you should be able to like hang out with them as a family. I think that's important, and your parents should be involved. Like they should know where you are at every single time you're with them. Like know where you are, what you're doing. Because I think that if you can't tell your parents what you're doing, then you're going to be doing something wrong. So I think your parents should be involved just high school, just so you're safe. And you don't end up having things you don't want for the rest of your life.
Things that you don't want.
Maybe perhaps.
You don't want baby.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Anybody else? Real quick.
I think your parents can offer like the greatest expertise on the subject because they've been there and they've already experienced all these things, and so I think they're just going to be your greatest like role model. So you need to ask them for advice in like this subject.
Yeah, I will definitely echo that and challenge all of y'all, and then I'll let you speak. Like, your parents dated at one point, or something like that. Ask them about their story, about how they met, or how your dad pursued your mom, or maybe stepdad, or whatever the case is. Just ask them about that, and maybe there can be some lessons that you can gain or garner from how they did it,
Or like mistakes they made.
Yeah, or mistakes that they made as well.
I think there's a reason our girlfriend-boyfriend's parents, because they know us and what we should look for, and also like other people, what we, or like who we're dating, whether that's good for us or bad.
Yeah.
So I think that should be fun.
Yeah.
And like personally, I would like to see how like the guy I date interacts with his parents. Like, if he like treats his mom well, then I know like that's how he's gonna treat me. So it's kind of like a reflection, and like in the future, like how he's gonna treat his family, like the way he treats his siblings and his dad and his mom, is just like a reflection of him.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Something on that? Okay, just a couple reminders. I think someone mentioned it earlier. It might have been Geneva or Sammy. If you are going to decide to date in high school, like one of the biggest hurdles that you need to get around is, just finding your identity in that person. Like your life is your boyfriend or your life is your girlfriend. And it's so dangerous when that throne in your life, when God gets put off of that throne, and what's most important is how I can please my girlfriend or how I can please my boyfriend. If you get to that stage, then the relationship is gonna start to, it's gonna always go downhill whenever God isn't the center of your life personally, of his or her life personally, and then both of y'all in that relationship together. And so that's why Matthew 6:33 is such a powerful verse for me, like when it comes to dating, when it comes to life in general, where Jesus is like, hey, seek first God's kingdom, and pursuing Christ along with you, and say, hey, like do you want to pursue him together? That's something that you just never stop doing. So it's just an important thing for all of you guys to keep in mind, to just put God first, put his priorities first, and he'll give you those good gifts, girlfriend or boyfriend, or husband or wife at some point in the future. Okay, so I skipped a lot of stuff, but it's okay. We kind of dealt with that. If you guys have any other questions, maybe it's related to this, or maybe it's a completely different topic and you have a question and you want to do that, you want to ask it, no, that's fine. We can do that for a couple minutes, but if not, then we'll just pray and then y'all can hang or whatever, or head home. So, does anyone have any other questions in relation to dating or anything like that? Or any other issue that you might want to ask about?
If you don't want to ask now, like, we'll
can,
be here.
Yeah, we'll chill here for a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
You and your girlfriend broke up after like a year and a half. What
Yeah.
made you get back on the horse and like, want to go?
On the horse.
Because he saw me.
In answer to your question, I was wounded. Like it was the first time I was like really that heartbroken. It took me a few months, honestly, to get over it and be like, okay, I'm ready to, like, if I meet another girl that's character and all of this stuff and attractive, yeah, then so it did take me a while. And what got me back on the horse, to use your terminology, is being okay answering the question, if God doesn't give me a girlfriend in the next month or in the next year or for a few years, will I be okay? Like, is having a relationship with God enough, and having a relationship with other people, but not a romantic relationship, if I were to put it like that? Am I okay if he doesn't provide that, like, right now when I want that relationship? And so I feel like as I worked through that process to where I was like, okay, to not have a girlfriend, and I'm not trying to put that cliche off, like that cliche that, like, it's when you're not looking for a girl, that's when the Lord brings her along, or whatever the case.
Don't ever say that.
I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that when I was okay with the Lord bringing her to me, to use your terminology a little bit, 6 months from that point, or a year from that point, and just being satisfied in my relationship with him and, the relationships around me, that's when I felt like I was confident enough to go face potential rejection again. So that would be my answer. Somebody else have something? Another question.
I have a question. Really, like, how can you tell, like, when it's the difference between, like, your desire to be with that person, or like start a relationship with that person, or when it's God's desire to be with that person? Like, how do you, like, gauge the difference between those?
I think it's your motivation going in. Like, the guy I dated in high school, it was a very, like, selfish motivation. It was like, wow, he makes me feel really good about myself, and yeah, it was just like, what can I get from this relationship? And I should have, like, stepped back and said, okay, this isn't right. But when it's like, yes, we are dating, we're, in our late 20s for the intention of hopefully marriage, but if that's not it, then, like, okay. And I think it's being okay with, we may not get married, and that's okay. That's when it's, like, God's will instead of my own, because if it's my own will, then it's like, we're going to get married, and it's going to be great, when that may not be what God has.
Yeah, and I would add to that was the last, like, few months of my relationship with the she who must not be named before her. Was, like, there was a point where we got to the point where we knew it wasn't going to work, but we still wanted to be in a relationship anyway. So there's this awkward elephant in the room that we would never talk about just because we liked being in a relationship with each other. And so that drug on for a couple of months when we should have ended it, whenever we saw that there was this thing that we just couldn't, overcome. So that's what I would add. That sometimes you try to force something to happen that the Lord isn't meant to happen, and it's important for you to step back and just kind of reassess the situation, which I didn't do at that point. So
it's a really good question.
Right. No one else? Okay, let's pray. And if you have a question you want to ask afterwards, feel free. We're going to hang here for a little bit until all of y'all are gone. Yeah, you can pray.
Well, can we do prayer requests too?
Yeah.
Oh, do y'all do?